is spinning.
Welcome to Speaking Prowess, the show that supercharges your communication and fuels unstoppable success. Sifu Rafael, visionary founder and world-renowned master instructor, elevates leaders into unforgettable communicators who command the room and inspire action. Alongside him is Scott Schilling, the authentic connector, a business growth expert with 40 years of experience, empowering audiences to rise higher, succeed faster, and thrive with purpose. Together they bring you the strategies, insights, and inspiration to amplify your voice, expand your influence, and unlock your true potential. This is Speaking Prowess. Your journey to communication mastery starts now.
5, 4, 3,
And here we are for Speaking Prowess. I'm Scott Schilling. I'm your host today with my co-host, Jaclyn, because Sifu is doing all sorts of fun stuff. And we're going to have a fabulous show because Deborah Mallow is here as well. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here.
So great to be here. So great.
We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk about leaping into joy while turning chaos into clarity and connection. So we should probably take this a step at a time. How do we leap into joy? What a great time of year to do that. Deborah, give us some of your genius.
So it's always a choice, right? We could choose positive or negative. It's our mindset, and our mindset sets us free. And as I always say, Scott and Jaclyn, and I'm sure you feel the same, why not choose joy? Why choose to be miserable or go down rabbit holes when you don't have to? But that's not always so easy, right? But step by step, little steps at a time, if we choose to, we can actually choose joy. And connection, and we'll get there next. Connection is a whole part of that, because if you choose a positive community that lifts you up, like these two people that I'm with, yay, right? You have more chance to choose joy.
Awesome. Jaclyn, what are your thoughts?
You know, first of all, I love what Deborah just said, and I have a saying that I say a lot, which is your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yes.
And it's to me. As you said, Deborah, you have a choice to be joyful or to be positive or to determine how you want to react to something. And I'll share. Yesterday, I got an email from my business partner, and it was a trigger. Like it was like, and I first reacted, and then I took a step back and I slept on it. And this morning, I'm like, no, let's turn this into a positive. We have to. You always have to figure out a way to flip the switch.
Yes.
Take a step and like breathe and think, okay, what can I do to turn this positive, not be negative, and not be angry or stick my middle finger up at them because I'm angry and pissed, right? Right? And how do we turn it into joy? Because then that's going to also reflect back onto how they react back to you, and it creates that a better relationship, so that then obviously going back to the next part of it, right? That chaos that's been created by some reaction and trigger, you can then get clarity on and then make a deeper connection.
Absolutely. This is an intriguing topic because my life purpose statement, which I've had for many years, to inspire and empower others to serve humanity through living their life's purpose in spirit, love, and joy. Mm-hmm. Now, isn't it interesting that wrapped up my life purpose statement, but there were a lot of years to inspire and empower others. That's everybody listening here. That's you too. That's me as well. To live our life's purpose, serving humanity in spirit, closer to God than I've ever been. Love my wife, my family, my friends more than I ever have. Joy. I've had fun. Was I really enjoy? And literally December 14th, a year ago, was the 10-year anniversary of my near-death experience. I was doing a gratitude video, just saying, I'm grateful for being here. I take no credit. God gets all the glory. It's his grace, mercy, and favor. But all of a sudden I was looking at myself. I said, man, I should probably ask, have I accomplished what he saved me for? Some of it. Man, not near enough of it. Wait a second. What brings me joy? And it was interesting. Out of all the choices, that's what came out. And so that's why this is such a cool topic. Joy for me is when you share a piece of information that you can see land. You know, you see the flash in somebody's eyes, and you know you improve their life for the rest of their life. That's joy to me. Deborah, how would you describe it?
Joy to me, it's so many different things that actually get me excited. I think of joy as being excited, living in the present, and just being at one with myself, content, fulfilled, happy. That to me is joy. And I get that from nature. I'm a big hiker. I love that. Those endorphin boosting things that you can do. I'm very creative. I'm an artist also, and that brings me joy. Being with people brings me joy. I love connection, but I really like positive people. I do try to help others, but again, it's their choice. I realize I can't control others, but there are so many, being with my family, my husband, my son, my mom, who's 91 years old, and she's amazing. She's full of joy. I mean, it's just amazing what she's accomplished in her life. I mean, just seeing other people do well. You know, some people are jealous of me. I love seeing other people do well. I want to understand how. I'm so curious. That brings joy. So not to belabor this, I think we can all find joy in so many different places if we're open to it and we choose it. That's how I feel.
I think that's spot on. Jaclyn, how about you?
You know what? First of all, Deborah, you and I need to go hiking. I live in Reno, Nevada. I am a massive hiker. I love hiking all the time. So that does, like, getting out in nature does bring me joy a lot. But one of the biggest things that fills my cup, that just, like, I come back, and I put my head on the pillow at the end of the day, and it's making really great connections. And as Scott, you said, like, seeing that light in other people. I could be super exhausted, and then I go out, and I might not want to be going out, but I'll go out and I'll make connections. I'll network. I'll be meeting people. I'll make other people connections. And I'm lit up. It just makes my heart sing to connect with other people and make other connections for people. And, part of my mission is, to empower people to have that unstoppable success and to leap to their greatest self. And that is, and really helping people see their light and see their superpowers and bring that out in people. I love doing that. And it's just so exciting to see, and and for me, I have 2 kids, and seeing them succeed is also, it's such a great joy, and then seeing others, as you said, I think it's difficult. And I will be the first to tell you, for a really long period of time in how I grew up, seeing other people's success, I was jealous. I was that person, but then I realized, I want to celebrate them, and I want to learn from them. Yeah. And there was, again, that switch, and you're like, oh my God, I love it. I want to, celebrate their wins. And, again, all of those things just bring joy. When you see other people succeed, it's so awesome. And if you have a little bit of a part in it, or if you've done something, made a connection for them, you're like, yeah, right?
Yes, it's how
very much so. As you were saying that, I have this challenge in my life. I become very verklempt when I see somebody who's really achieved something. I love watching, my wife and I all watch, like, The Biggest Loser, or pick pick something where somebody has now achieved something that they've been challenged with for an extended period of time, but now they overcome it. And they'll be telling the story and doing the different things. And us and my wife will look over and she goes, "Are you crying?" I said,
Yes.
"No, it's allergies. Come on. It's the trees,
Right.
but it is. It just so hits your heart,
It
I mean,
does.
it's so cool from that side.
Or some of those commercials, right? Like some of the commercials are like,
Exactly.
oh my
Yeah.
God, why am I crying?
Yeah, no.
They
Well, I
never
won't go
do
quite
it.
that far on commercials, but
I know. I admit it.
okay, so now, Deborah, let's go to the next portion of turning chaos into clarity and connection. Well, how do we go about doing that? We live in such a me, now world. People are unfortunately tend to get caught up in themselves. How do we cut through that chaos and bring some clarity and connection to it all?
And it's so interesting. I'm not trying to sell myself, but honestly, I wrote a book called 6 Steps to Fewer Days That Suck. And it was really trying to figure out, and everything you're talking about, I have in my book, because I agree with everything both of you were saying, and how to feel joyous and other people seeing their success. You understand that you can reach whatever potential you want to. So honestly, working through all these things to find more balance in my life, not to push myself to extremes or focus on the one thing that didn't meet my expectations, not on all the 10 wonderful things I did in a day, and not to let myself chaos, because you could see chaos from the outside world and chaos from inside our brains. And I tried to, one, deal with that chaos inside our minds, meaning that we worry, fear, negative thoughts, other people judgment, other people's success, maybe whatever it might be, that chaos in your mind is learning to calm that and find joy. And I say it's not about forcing positivity. It's about approaching life differently. And once you internalize the joy, you get rid of all those negative emotions inside your head, body, whatever, wherever it is within us. That's when, and you all said this too, that's when we can be better for other people. And the outside world, it'll always be spinning. It'll never be perfect. But being able to navigate in that world and come at it with a sense of calm. You talked about not reacting. I say respond, don't react, pause, take a moment, and figure out what's going to serve you best. Because when you accept yourself, when you're kind to yourself, chances are you're going to be kinder to the outside world. And at least, hopefully, you can calm certain parts of it, at least that we have to deal with. So I focus on the inner chaos and fix that to be able to deal with the outside chaos. If that makes sense to you. It made sense to me.
Well, it does make sense. Jaclyn, what are your thoughts?
So it's funny. A lot of this, for when that chaos, it's charting your true north. And there's a workbook that I co-authored with a friend, a gentleman he's actually in Australia. And it's a workbook on leadership, but the chaos, and where I think about the chaos is that a lot of times we start going through life and maybe we have our plan of what we want, and somewhere along the way we forget. And so, and how you get out of the chaos is to get back to determining what you want, what is your purpose, what is your mission, write it down, what are your values, what are your superpowers, what are the things that you need to really be focusing on, what is the thing that you do best? What do you also need to delegate? But if you can know what your purpose and your mission is, and and the goals that you want to set to reach that, then it's going to give you clarity and take the chaos that you have, and you can help put it into buckets and help you kind of streamline what you're doing. And I was actually one of those people that, where, you're going through life, and all of a sudden you're like, you wake up one day, I'm like, where am I? What am I doing? Like, I'm no longer the one that's driving the bus. The bus is driving me. And you want to switch it back. You want to get to where you're the one that's driving your existence and what you are doing. And it's one of the things that I work with a lot of my clients on, is also like being purposeful in your actions that you are doing, so that you can, not that I want to say be boring, but that you can take all the craziness and decide what pieces that you really want to keep, what do you want to ditch, or what do you want to be like, okay, that's not serving me.
Right.
And get rid of it. Right. So, to put clarity in the chaos, you have to know what you want to do, and you need to know your mission and your purpose.
Yeah. That almost sounds like having a plan. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh God. Kind of. Maybe ish.
Yeah, exactly.
Be flexible with the plan, I think. Otherwise, you're too hard on yourself, right?
Yeah, very much so. Well, it's interesting with what you both said. I mean, a lot of thoughts popped up. It's interesting. I spoke at a online summit a couple of days ago, and we were talking about really striving for ease and grace.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how what you were saying, Deborah, that technically the reticular activation system will find whatever it is you're looking for. And so, if you in fact choose joy and not chaos, but Jaclyn, it comes through clarity, right? You have to know what you're looking for. I learned this lesson so many years ago as a young sales guy, walking through a furniture and appliance store with the owner. He said, we're going to find every missing button on every couch on the floor. And I said, how are we going to do that? He said, we're going to look for them. And I said, you're kidding me, right? And he goes, no. And he said, program your mind to find the ones that are missing. And we literally walked a couple 100,000 square foot store, and were able to identify the ones that were missing buttons. It just shows you the power of the mind and what can happen when you really choose. You have that clarity of what you're looking for, and then you put the power that's been built in all of us to go out and search for it. It's really amazing. Focus. So love that idea. How about the connection side, Deborah? How do we get there through it all?
And connection to yourself, because it's like everything. It starts with us, and if we're connected, we're grounded, we're feeling good. And yes, nothing will ever be perfect. I understand that, but I try to think of baseline. So you feel good, you're connected with yourself, you accept yourself. Then it's much easier to make connections with others. People want to be with people that lift them up, make them feel good. And connection, community is just such a wonderful part of life. It's an endorphin booster. And human beings just naturally, we crave other people. Yes, we need our solitude. It's good to have time to reflect and downtime, but we crave that human connection. So figuring out the best way to do that. And it's funny how we've all been in sales at some point in our lives. And that relationship, that connection, that sparks joy, especially when, like Scott said, and you said, Jaclyn, when you see that you're making that connection and they're feeding into what you're talking about, and you have a relationship and everything, it makes you feel good. Why? because we all want to be cared about and loved. So when you think of it that way, that's how I see connection with ourselves, with others, because human beings crave that. So being our best selves, I just think it makes life easier to be able to connect with people, not to be so self-conscious, not to worry about judgment and all those other things. Are we good enough? All that stuff to be able to put aside and just be present in the moment and connect.
Love that.
Yeah, that is so true.
Jaclyn, what are your keys to connection?
One of the biggest things I think for the keys to connection is to, as Deborah was just saying, you have to like and feel comfortable with yourself. And if you're going to walk into a room, you have to leave the baggage behind. Whatever happened to you that day, that morning, that night, whatever, you've got to walk in almost like clean, with a smile on your face, feeling that you are, that smile is going to attract. But when you have people that walk in and they're bringing all the baggage from their day and they're just pouting down, you can feel the negative energy, right? So again, you have to be feeling good here, here in your heart, and you have to feel like that you're walking in, with a smile and feeling that you want to attract. And that's going to help other people connect, because again, you're going to, people are going to want to be connected to somebody who makes them feel good. If you're the person that's just complaining all the time, or like you're like complaining about your boss or complaining about this or whatever, people are going to be like, oh, I don't want to talk to her or him, whatever. Right. And so, right. Like it's not your, how you connect with people. Again, that clarity of who you are and being able to put that smile on your face is going to have other people connect, and you're going to be able to make connections. And then you're also being able to not think about you. It's always about the other person, right? So it's not about how, like, how can you bring out the best in others? How can you ask the right questions? How can you, be that person that's pulling out information? Because people want to, that whole know, like, and trust.
Yes.
People want to feel like they, they're going to feel like they know you because you've asked them 1,000 questions about them. Right.
Exactly.
And, so that's what, that connection has to be where you feel comfortable be able to do that too.
Yeah.
Totally. In fact, I'm going to play a little video here to show you something about a little bit of a connection.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC experience, mastermind, where purpose is found.
I want to be dancing.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're going to be there. You're going to be dancing.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
one of
I
the
might actually one time be able to make this one. I've always been traveling every time Sifu has something. So maybe this will be a good time. This looks great.
You'll meet Jaclyn in person there.
Yes.
This is connection is an amazing thing, and events like that, the NYC Experience Mastermind and everything, is really, the content side is fabulous. It's the only thing that you can say about it, but the connections, the non-content side is even better.
I'm
just
sure.
being able to hang with like-minded, like-hearted people that have great desire to provide benefit to the world, quite frankly. It doesn't have to be any harder than having a little desire, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, Deborah, again, as we talk about clarity and connection, give us your ninja move. What's your ninja move to create connection?
Well, as you can tell, I smile a lot. So that's just something that's just a big part of me. But I just try to make people feel good. As Jaclyn has said, you ask them questions about themselves and you try to make the relationship, because there's could always be something that's relatable from our past, from our life, that relates to the other person. And that's what I always try to do is, like, even in sales, I never sold. I just made connections and relationships with people and made them feel good, because I love people. There wasn't a whole message behind what I was doing. I wasn't trying necessarily to just get anything. Sure, it was my job to sell and get the sale, but honestly, I wanted to do it authentically, my way. I wanted to be honest and just enjoy the moments. So that's the way that I make the connections with people. Just as myself, I'm very genuine. I was just on Good Day DC, and somebody saw it and texted me, just somebody that I know happened to see it. I guess they were Googling or something. And he said, you're as genuine on the camera as you are in real life. And when we know you, and that's what I want to be. That's who I want to be known for. And that's how I make connections with people. Just as myself, you can love me or not. That's your choice. But I want to be always showing up as me, as a kind, respectful, positive person that makes you feel good.
Right.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment that people are excited to know you as you.
Right.
That's very cool. So, Jaclyn, you're going to be speaking at that event. What genius are you going to bring to them there?
So I'll give a sneak peek. My topic is actually being the CEO of you, and how to be the CEO of you is also how you become the best leader.
Yes.
And so bringing a little bit of that to the stage, to talk about that. And and as Deborah just said, being authentic and being that person, it's people buy. I don't care what people say. First of all, every single human being, whether you are customer service, you're in the warehouse, you're all in sales. Everybody is a salesperson. And if you're a parent, you're in sales, because you've got to be like selling, whether or not, like, when you got that 3-year-old kid, oh, eat this, it's really great. Right. I mean, like, you got to sell stuff, like, and you may not realize it, but you're always selling. Everybody is always selling. But it's whether or not you think that you're selling. The person who thinks that they're selling is selling. The person who's building the relationship so that people can know, like, and trust them is not selling. They're building the relationship so that the person will actually want to buy from them, because people do buy from people that they like.
Exactly.
Right? They buy, what were you going to say?
Yeah, the reality is selling is serving. One of the
Right.
things that I do in my trainings is really work to demystify the sales process. Selling is ultimately serving. People overcomplicate it. It's only 4 words: identify problem, provide solution. If somebody has a challenge or a problem in their life and you're presenting something that can improve that for them, that's a service. And how you frame the entire activity in your mind, it makes a big thing. And it's the same thing with the connections. As a sales professional, I don't ever want to sell you anything, but I do always want you to buy a lot from me. Therefore, it's my responsibility to create that environment where you want what I have, because you can see the benefits you'll derive from it all. And I think that that's a big part in the connection side as well. People do business with those they trust. End of conversation. They date those they trust. They marry those they trust. They divorce those they no longer trust. And that's in personal life and professional life,
Right.
right? And so it comes down to trust. Now, the part that I share in virtually every presentation is that people take action when they're ready, not when you're ready.
Yes.
So by definition, you have to build trust ahead of when they're ready. And that's why I think the sleeping into joy and turning chaos into clarity and connection becomes so important, because you've got to build that trust. You've got to, if you truly want to connect, it's about laying the groundwork for trust. So, in how important do you think that is in the way you approach that clarity and connection, Deborah?
I think it's all about trust. And as a New Yorker, I grew up here, I live here in Manhattan, I don't trust. It takes me a long time to trust someone. But what you were saying, my husband, I trust him no matter what. I mean, I just do. He's proven it to me. And exactly when you're selling or just in life, you want people to feel good about you, to feel that you're just want to help them. You genuinely care. And even if you don't know somebody that well, that feeling of caring, that compassion, empathy, people think compassion, empathy, which one? I sort of wrap them all together. I don't have that debate with myself, but I just think that people feel that from you. I know in my strength finder, one of my top strengths was empathy. And I thought that was fantastic, amongst other things, what I thought were really good qualities as well. But I just think when you care about people, when you have that empathy and compassion, that comes through, and that helps to build trust. Are you hearing them? Are you listening to what they say? Especially in sales, right? Listen, talk less, listen more. So it's all those things.
We've got that 2 versus 1, right?
Very much so.
Yes. So it's all of those things and more that will build trust. And that's why when I was saying we go inside ourselves, we're aware of what we're doing and reading too, but sometimes it's just who you are. Some people just have that quality. Other people just have to work at it and learn to be self-aware. I mean, you see it in kindergarten. There's sometimes the children who just care about everyone else. And that, I think, builds a lot of trust.
Oh, that's very cool. How about you, Jaclyn?
I truly believe that trust is one of those things, obviously, where you have to earn it, right?
Mhm.
And it can be taken away really quickly. But if you can help people and see that you do care, right? I mean, then it starts that process. And it's building that relationship, and not just, as you said, as you're serving them, Scott, like you're there to help people. You're not there to push a product on somebody. You want to be able to help somebody, and you should and always be able to say to people, like, you know the out, know the walk away, right? So people understand that you're not there to push something on them. And building trust, it takes a while, I believe, to really build it. And it's not something that happens overnight, but it can be taken away overnight.
Yeah.
So being able to actually just keep building and working on those relationships is so important, and helping other people understand that the relationship is a building process. You're not there for the quickie.
Yeah, I think it's interesting a little bit from our conversation prior to going on air, Jaclyn, and what you just said, Deborah. What it made me think is the environmental pressures on trust and on the things outside the relationships themselves. Deborah, very distinct in the statement on, well, I'm from New York, and that changes things. And Jaclyn, as we were talking prior, you said, well, I'm in Reno, and that changes things in two totally different directions. I agree wholeheartedly. So how do we, I think that's where, how do we gain clarity in the environmental factors so that we can pull these connections together? Any thoughts?
Well, I just think being aware of your environment, of the people you're with, using your intuition.
Yeah.
I think that's really, trusting your intuition, because the brain knows. They thrive on patterns, so they can know. Our brains can tell us stop, and just being aware that way. I find, especially in New York, because it's not, I say that because New York, because it's in any big city. It doesn't have to be New
Right.
York. In any big city, you have to be careful. It doesn't mean that people are bad. There's wonderful people. There's bad people everywhere. There are more good people than bad. And the more you realize that, I think trust is something, and I really try. I come into a relationship, into meeting people, giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. Not meaning I think, oh, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, or I don't trust you, but I'm going to wait and see. It's nothing like that. It's just that you want to come at it believing that they're good, that they want to help you, help humanity, that they're good people, that they care about you. They're not just going to take advantage of you, which makes everybody feel yucky. And so I think if we come at it with that feeling, and until, like you said, it takes time until they prove you wrong, or you see the warning signs, or your intuition says, back off. I think being able to do that helps us be able to build these relationships, not hold us back from building them, because I just think it's just so nice to build community, to have friends, to have a network that you can support each other. And it's always, to me, as I hear from the both of you, it's each other. It's a give, it's a take. Sometimes you give more, sometimes somebody else gives more, but that is true friendship. True doesn't mean you're best friends, but it's just you learn to trust people because you're going to help each other. Nobody is taking more and only taking. You help each other, and over time, it's like treating for dinner. Sometimes some people do, one person does it, another time another person does it. It's that give and take in life that I think helps build the trust and build relationships, connections, and of course that adds to joy and it calms the chaos.
Right. And one thing that you said though, and it's not tit for tat.
Yeah.
It's not, and we're not keeping score. Right. And I think, I've lived, I'm the East Coast person. I grew up in the East Coast. I've lived in Manhattan for 10 years. I'm now in Reno. And one of the things that I think is very different, and I think is that we have to all understand that people do come from different places. And that if we can see, somebody who's never been out of Reno, or maybe has never lived someplace else, they're going to have different experiences. But being able to understand and have that feeling to know, not that there's anything bad with that. It's different. But we just have to be able to relate to that and understand that we can come from different places. But at the end of the day, it is all about, being a good, kind person, being able to support somebody else. And if you're good to other people, doesn't matter where they're from, there's going to start a relationship, and you can start building that trust, and understand that everybody does have a different background, but we have to find out who they are first. And not to judge the book by its cover, because you're always surprised. There's in one of our networking hubs, there's a woman, and she's a financial planner, and she's not your typical looking financial planner. I mean, she's got, blue hair, and you know, but and just a wealth of knowledge and just just the most amazing human, right? And we can't judge the book by its cover. She's and I would say, like, when I first met her, I was like, she's a financial planner. And then I'm like, oh, Jaclyn, just shut it. Like, just get that out. Like, just meet her, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because she's awesome, right? So awesome.
Right.
And so you just don't know. And I will say, like, just take out any of those preconceived ideas, notions, whatever, because I will guarantee you the people will surprise you when you get to know them. And the people that you at least expect to be maybe your best friends will become your best friends because you didn't, no judgment. You just got to know them.
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very much so. I was at a networking event not long ago, and I don't know, somebody asked me a particular question, and I said, do you see any place on my card where it says judge? Yeah, it's not on my card because that's not who it is, and for my clients and everything, I came up, especially, we've had some fairly diametrically opposed positions, and it's hard to solve things when you're diametrically opposed. When you're off a little bit, there's some give and take. But when I don't like you, well, I hate you. Okay, that doesn't work so well. And I just started coaching. I created a very simple question: is it possible? Is their position possible? Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Doesn't mean you have to accept it. Doesn't mean you have to adopt it. It just, is it possible? As soon as you say, is it possible? Now you start to have potential greater understanding of their thought process. And it's interesting, Deborah, when you're talking about New York, I'm thinking about velocity, right? There's just movement. At least from my experience of being there. I've never lived there, but from my experience. And then Jaclyn, when you were talking about Reno, I'm thinking velocity, but it's a different, it's a slower.
It's a sleepy velocity.
Well, but it's interesting how when you take things like velocity differences, pace of energy, all the different things, it doesn't make it one better or one less better. It just makes it what it is. And I think that's a big part of, again, how do you get into joy? You get into joy, in my opinion, because you know what brings you joy. And you focus on that internally. And because you're focused on that internally, more than likely you're expressing it externally.
Exactly.
And I agree when you said, it's funny, Deborah, because I wrote a book after my near-death experience called That Sucks. What Now?
No, you didn't.
I did.
Oh my God, is that so funny?
Okay, I need to make a book that has a title with the word suck in it now.
Exactly.
Not that, because God, you're that's scary, but thank goodness all's okay.
Well, no, but I mean, but in there, I talked about one of the first things that my wife and I went to a grocery store to try to normalize me back into the world. But I tell the story of I'm pushing a cart down an aisle and a lady's coming the other way, and I smiled at her, and she stopped and she looked and she goes, "Why are you smiling at me?"
I know, right?
And I said, "Because I can." Right. And she turned and went the other way. I went down the next aisle. Anyway, 3 different aisles, 3
You're
different
down the aisle, I'm
ladies.
smiling at you.
Well, that's exactly, I did. Right. It became this, and she said, the last lady said, "Why are you smiling at me?" And I said, "Because I can." She goes, "That's so awesome. You just made my day." She goes, "Can I give you a hug?" I said, "Sure." And this is in a grocery. Again, the ability to create joy and to get through the junk is having the determination to want to get through the junk, isn't it?
Absolutely. It all takes determination and focus. It really does. But you know what? I think that one woman who wanted to give you a hug and just it made her day. She was so present in the moment. She was able to receive what you were giving her. She is open to joy. Where the other one, "Why are you smiling at me?" It's like you could tell right away from people's responses. I
Yeah.
don't say reaction, responses. They're thinking through things and everything and figuring it out. What kind of person they are too. I mean, not negative or positive, just the fact, good or bad, just the fact that I think I hope for people that they are open to receiving joy and other people's love and light and all of that. As trite as that might sound, it really comes from my heart, from my soul, wanting that for people, wanting the best for people, honestly, truthfully, because so many people are stuck. And that was the premise behind my book, to help people get unstuck and just really enjoy their lives more. So simple, but so hard to do, especially when you're programmed a certain way. Why are you smiling at me instead of, you made my day?
Right. Yeah.
Jaclyn, why do people make it hard?
Oh God, why do they make it hard? Because they're not open. People have been, I think, so shut down. And so many of us have so many things coming at us, right? That we can't receive the smile, right? Or and I hate to say it, but nowadays, so many people they're texting and and this is one of the things that Sifu talks about a lot of time is communication. We forget how to use this, our mouth, and talk and speak and communicate. And so when people see it from other people, they almost don't know what to do anymore, or they forget about, I can smile. They forget how to receive it and how to take it. I had this guy on my podcast the other day, and he wrote a book. It's Engage First. And one of the things that he talks to people about in learning to engage is, can you make the grocery clerk, the cashier, smile? Can you engage? Can you make them laugh? And we forget how to do that. And I think, we've become such a society of the fast food line, right? So I'm going to go through the drive-through. I'm going to go through the drive-through at the bank. I'm going to go through the self-checkout line at the grocery store. And we forget how to interact and communicate with other people. So we don't know how to receive that. And I would challenge everybody, if you're listening, stop that. Go into the, get out of your car. Your butt is going to thank you because you're taking a few more steps, right? And you're going to go into the bank. You're going to go into the coffee place. You're going to go into the checkout and go to the grocery person and talk to them. Make their day. People want to connect.
Connection.
Right? They want to connect, and we forget how. And one of the things that, we were talking before, I will talk to anybody and everybody. And it's one of the things that my kids used to cringe at. We'd go into the grocery store and be like, who the freaking hell is mom going to talk to today? Or we'd leave and be like, Mom, why did you have to talk to the person at the deli counter? Just because, right? You can, because I can say hi, because I can say hello, because I can give them a smile and ask them, how's your day going? Hey, what are you buying? Oh, I've never tried that before. Make conversation. Exactly. And fast forward now, my son, who is just turned 18, and we were getting our flu shots. And this still makes me laugh so hard when I think about this. So he gets the flu shot, and he says he gets the poke, and he's normally the kid who cannot stand them because they hurt. And he's like, holy crap, you did such an amazing job. I didn't even feel it. And he starts spewing, right? Talking to the lady. I'm like, can I get my flu shot now, honey?
Yeah.
And
he's learned from you.
Right. He's learned. And we leave, and he goes, Mom, you've rubbed off.
That's so awesome. Wonderful. My son too, the same. He's like, it's rubbed off.
Right. But I think, because we've become such a society of not using our voice and not communicating and just, how many characters, 130 characters, right? that we forget how to actually receive and communicate. And I, again, I challenge everybody, take a step this week, right? Take a step and make an extra connection that you would not normally do, and smile at somebody.
I'll give you something. Number one, I've done it for years and years and years, but I teach it all the time. How many times a day have people been conditioned to ask you how you doing? Or how many times do you hear how you doing?
A lot.
And so here's my answer 100% of the time. I'm fabulous and I'll get better. And it stops people down immediately. To all of a sudden, it changes their state because they've been conditioned to ask the question, how you doing? They don't really care and they aren't really listening.
Right.
But as soon as you say, I'm fabulous and I'll get better, it stops them down. They turn and look, and the next thing they're going, what's better than fabulous? Well, it could be a variety of different things.
Stupendous.
But I'm planning on them happening later on. Oh, I wish I had your outlook. Well, I'll give it to you. You can have that outlook, right? And all of a sudden, this is where the connection and the clarity and the, having some joy, having fun with people. I'm pretty well convinced at this point that nobody wants to be around a grumpy Gus or a grumpy Gerda. They want to be around people who are having some fun, enjoying life. Why wouldn't you want the best out of life? You're going to live it until you're not. Right. So you might as well have some fun at it, don't you think?
I totally agree. I think people forget the fun. They forget to skip, right? Yeah. They forget to have, go on the swing and or put their feet in the, on the ground, on the earth, and do those things that bring them joy, and but have fun, smile. Like, don't just keep doing, live. We have to be able to live our lives, not just be in our lives.
Exactly. Present in the moment. And I do want to add, I always say, because when I go on podcasts or whatever, I say, we need to accept ourselves, give ourselves a hug, and smile. And I do that as my morning routine because I say smiling, and it's true. It's gifting happiness. Because when you smile, just by the nature of turning your lips up, you feel good. It's an endorphin booster. So by doing that, you spread that happiness to other people. So it's really very, very true. Everything you're talking about and everything we're talking about today. I mean, that's why I like to travel and see different things. I'm not talking about spending gobs of money on it, but just expose myself to different things, is because what Jaclyn was talking about too, you understand the differences, then you also see how similar we all are too. And it helps you also not just accept yourself for who you are and understand that you're doing the best you can, accept yourself for that, and we can always improve, but you learn to accept other people and meet them where they are. And then you can build trust and calm the chaos and connection and joy and all of that because of that. And that's, to me, a wonderful part of life.
Deborah, I love, like when you say get up in the morning and you smile to yourself, and I'm like, okay, like challenge everybody, like smile to yourself. We've all, well, at least if you've taken a sales class or trained, whatever, like, what do they always say? Stand up before you make a phone call and smile, because the other person on the other end can see it. Not obviously really, they can't see it literally, but when you're smiling, it goes through the line and people can feel it. They can see, so if you're smiling, they're going to receive it. It's true. So smile before you pick up the phone, but do me a favor, do pick up the phone and actually make the phone call. Don't just text.
Yeah, exactly. These things are technically called phones.
Right.
You can actually make a call on them,
right?
For sure.
Yeah, like that whole thing, like you gotta touch someone, right?
Exactly. This has been awesome. Deborah, give us about 45 seconds. How do people get a hold of you? How do they learn more about your genius and work with you?
Well, you can connect with me through the daily decisions with an S.com. And there's all kinds of buttons to email me. Or you can go Deborah at thedailydecisions.com and email me that way. And also, my book is on Amazon, 6 Steps to Fewer Days That Suck. I can show you a little picture of it if I can figure out a way to show it here. There it is.
Awesome.
And yeah, I really try to help people get unstuck and just enjoy their lives more, because as we started this with, it's a choice. And as much as you think it's difficult to do if you're in a negative way or life is closing in on you, if you choose it, we can do it. The human beings have so much potential. Think about what some people create. It's amazing what people can create, and we can do that for our own lives. So yes, please do connect. I love people. I love chatting, and it would be so much fun. Oh, and my Instagram handle is daily.decisions, and my name, Deborah Mallow's, there too, because you can DM me there too.
Awesome.
LinkedIn too. So there we go.
Jaclyn, the same.
So you can actually find me at Jaclyn at leaptoyoursuccess.com. That's my email. Go to leaptoyoursuccess.com. I consider myself an unstoppable success strategist. So my vision for people is to help them be unstoppable wherever they want to be unstoppable. So you can find me also on all the socials, but on LinkedIn, it's always Jaclyn Strominger, or on Instagram, it's Jaclyn.Strominger. But find me, connect with me. You can find all the stuff there. And I really love to, I do like the same with Deborah. I love to connect with people, even just have, that quick 30-minute chat. You can grab one of those on my calendar, off my website, but please do, reach out and connect, because that is probably one of the things that gives me, again, fills my cup when I have a quick call with somebody and we just start connecting.
Awesome. Sounds great. I encourage all to do exactly that. I'm Scott Schilling. I do not hide well. My name is my website, scottschilling.com. My email is extremely clever. It's scott@scottschilling.com. So it's the exact same thing. Please reach out and let's connect. The world's a better place when people are connecting and having a little fun and goofing off. Deborah, thank you for being here. Jaclyn, thank you for being my co-host. Sifu, we miss you terribly. Yep. And travel safely, by the way. We'll go that way. And thanks all. We're going to wrap up the show right now with this little video. Or not. Okay. Well, then we'll just end the stream and go from there. Everybody have a fabulous rest of the day. God bless.